not going to be a greasy, smooth landing. It's going to be a rival.
It'll just go BAM!
We're flying a Jeep here, right? This is a Jeep.
Yeah.
Not a sports car.
I'm with my family in a 2-ship formation, heading to an awesome location.
Getting close to flying next to trees is definitely a backcountry requirement, particularly for this type of flying. And so you have to be able to kind of be comfortable kind of skimming the treetops.
We're showing the girls the kind of flying you need to be capable of to have experiences like this. It's winter in Arkansas, and I got to take my family to one of the most amazing backcountry flying spots I've ever seen. Despite some challenging weather, I was able to put the Super Patriot Mark II through its paces. We got to experience living a bit of a postcard here with the airplane literally parked outside the cabin we stayed at.
Well, the good thing is you have a lot of go-around options, right? Even heavy weight, you go around. I didn't push the power up till I was about here, and I had no problem making any type of obstacle clearance. So that's where, these aircraft that, you can be like, oh, they're super forgiving. They kind of make you feel like too good of a pilot. Well, the reason why you have that for the backcountry is so that you don't get yourself in a bad situation, right? It is so forgiving so that you can do these things that are a little more challenging without putting yourself in a bad position. Or if you do get in a bad position, you have some options.
Yeah. So I'm glad to have done some solid training with Trevor before flying here with my daughter on board, because this was awesome, but it was a legit backcountry landing to get here to park the airplane outside the cabin.
One last check of these. Everything's clear?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
So we're launching as a 2-ship from Bentonville, Arkansas, and Trevor is on board the other plane. I'll be following him. It's just under an hour flight. The morning had been IFR, but it's just lifted to marginal VFR.
Alright, 2, I've got eyes on you. I'm going to stay deconflicted from you. If you just want to continue straight, maybe a slight left turn to avoid the class Charlie.
Roger.
That's good. The Bentonville Patriot Flight of 2 is going to be departing to the south, Bentonville.
I've already published several episodes from this series. We spent a few days out here with me being trained while the girls got to explore the local area, with the plan being to get them flying as soon as I was ready. This is the Super Patriot Mark II. I'd previously flown the Mark I aircraft. The Mark II version has had several upgrades, and since I flew it, it's now sporting a beautiful paint job inspired by Bird's Adventure Center, which is where we're heading, and Trevor actually recently took 2nd place at a STOL contest there, and that's very impressive for an aircraft that is not purpose-built for STOL competition.
This is bush flying.
Yes, it is. Got a thin little scud layer right here. We'll pass through, but looks clear on the other side.
Yep.
And I'm trusting Trevor to fly my wife Jill, but I got no concerns there. He's got a very impressive resume. I didn't have an intercom recording set up on board with Trevor, so you won't be hearing from Jill like you are with Evelyn.
Wait, what type of pilot was he?
He's a Thunderbird pilot. He flies an F16 military jet.
Oh, damn.
Feel really good that I know these mountains pretty well right now. Descend a little bit, a little layer coming up.
Obstacle ahead, pull up. Caution, terrain ahead.
It would be very different if we were in Colorado or something where there's much bigger mountains.
Yeah, there's no big threats. I got to chart multiple layers of security with the terrain advisor and everything else. Totally feeling good.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of having these really advanced avionics is they really increase safety like this.
And just in case we use it in the video, you want to talk about legalities and stuff and numbers, just in terms of clear cloud, what the minimum requirements are in this type of airspace?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're in Class G airspace. So the only limitation we have is that we maintain clear of clouds when you're below a certain altitude, which we clearly are. So our visibility is obviously great right here. The other thing we want to watch out for is that we're not within 500 feet of any person or structure. And so kind of hugging the limits on that, but don't want to get too high to where we're in the clouds. But the good thing is here in just a second we'll be, you can see we're kind of transitioning some pretty remote areas. There's not a whole lot of people or structures to worry about.
Cool.
What altitude are you showing on your Garmin right now?
600 AGL, but it keeps changing, obviously.
Right. I'm kind of hugging this valley right now to keep us clear of that. There's a few houses out here, and then it'll diminish as we get a little further south.
And as soon as we get outside the Class Charlie airspace, now all we have to do is maintain clear of clouds. So we can skim the clouds a little bit more. And the reason why that rule is in place is for this exact thing, right? There's not a whole lot of people that you have to worry about coming through the clouds, IFR, but it allows you to fly in the backcountry here when weather conditions are like this.
Yeah, like I didn't feel unsafe at any point during any of that. The only like slight uncomfortable aspect was knowing like this is all trees a lot of the time. Right. So at 500 AGL, you don't have a lot of time to decide if something's going wrong, but we briefed it. We're going to just mush it into the treetops if that's what we had to do. In
a worst case scenario, I mean, what I'm always doing is I'm looking at any open field, and as soon as I pass it, I'm looking at what the next one is. Okay, that's the next one, or I'm going to spin back around there and, you know, trade your potential energy for your kinetic energy for potential energy, turn around, and you get a little bit further glide. And then, like you said, if you truly are in a situation like just north of us, you know, you can go for 100 miles and there's nothing, almost no sign of civilization. And so in those situations, you would be in a situation where you have to go right over the treetops. You get as slow as humanly possible and you stall right above the trees and glide in. The good thing is because you're going so slow in this aircraft, you're going 35 miles an hour. And you're on the top of the trees, you'll be fine. You'll walk away. The airplane may not do great, but you will be safe, which is really the most important thing.
How you feeling? You good?
I was telling your wife, when we do low levels in the airport, sometimes we'd have a radar altimeter depending upon the airplane, and sometimes we wouldn't. We do our low levels normally at 500 feet, but we don't want to go above 1,000. That's where they tell us that if you can see the cows, you can make out that it's a cow, you're probably at 1,000 feet. Once you can see all four legs on the cow, that's a good indication for about 500 feet.
That's awesome. And how fast are you going when you're doing that?
About 400 knots.
That's what he does in the fighter jets.
Really?
Yeah.
It's generally not a problem. It's the birds you got to watch out for going that fast, that low. Your canopy limitation on how thick it is really your biggest threat.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that in mind, you tell me if you see anything like birds or anything to avoid. You keep your eyes out.
Okay.
And you don't have to stare at the plane. I don't know what you're looking at, but don't worry about staring at him. I'm flying now, obviously.
Yeah, I'm just looking, I don't know, I'm just looking around.
Okay.
I'm going to start working my way to the left a little bit.
We did a lot of cool stuff during the transition training over the past few days, including actually landing in snow. But obviously we maintained VFR at all times. But if you're into IFR flying, I've got several episodes coming, so stay tuned for those.
Checking my airplane, I'm not seeing any indication of precipitation collecting. Are you seeing anything?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
One of the things I'm always doing when looking out here, pretty much constantly scanning between the instruments and everything like that for normal flying, but then also looking around for any open areas I might be able to put down in a worst case scenario.
Not a lot of choices here. I guess there's one to the left there.
Yeah, not most airplanes. This airplane, that little riverbed down at 11 o'clock low, you could put down there if you had to.
You're talking about that. See the gravel?
Yeah.
So if we wanted to.
Knowing your airplane and being really comfortable with power out landings are really important for this type of flying. It's really nice having all the towers marked as well, because I'm able to identify them, correlate them with what's happening on the map versus what's happening visually.
Oh yeah, this level of situational awareness is awesome. People sometimes bust my balls when they see like an iPad plus the glass, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't care. Why not use it if you got it? Yeah, the more information, the better. I wish we had this kind of stuff in the military. Ours is pretty archaic. It's pretty impressive how general aviation generally has the best avionics of any type of airplane out there. Most people don't realize that. Especially experimental.
Exactly.
I've even got SiriusXM going with the GDL52, because why not?
I've got a built-in receiver in the RV-14 that I fly, but for anything else, I always bring the GDL52. I can't stress enough how important it is to have this level of situational awareness. I was a SiriusXM Aviation data user long before they became a supporter of the channel, and I'm proud to recommend the service.
Yeah, I think we got the timing for the clouds lifting just about right.
Yeah, totally.
Traffic.
Your daughter still flying?
No, she only had it for about 5 minutes there. She's enjoying the view.
Yeah. Yeah, when y'all come back and check out the game bird facility, it'd be awesome to, if we had the Patriots here, to do a little bit more flying around here when it's prettier out here.
Totally. How you feeling back there?
I'm good.
So when we land, it's going to be kind of firm, just because I'm not going to try to make it smooth, just because I want to land short. But you see the size of the wheels and everything, it's made for that, so it's going to be a bit firm, okay?
Does that mean like bumpy?
Yeah, a little bit. Not intense, but more than the RV.
Okay.
Firm, it won't bounce really.
It'll just go bounce.
Yeah, it's not going to be a greasy, smooth landing. It's going to be a arrival, and then I'm going to hit the brakes. It won't be anything drastic, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
So this is the mulberry that we're we're coming up here. You can see the water kind of off the nose, the left a little bit is pretty turquoise. In the summer, it's really bright turquoise. And part of the reason for that is that it's all limestone out here.
Yeah, it'd be fun to come here in the summer.
You can see the water down below. You can kind of tell, even in this overcast, how turquoise it is. But when the sun's shining, man, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Ahead.
See that?
Yeah.
Traffic.
Do you fish out here?
I'm not personally, but there's a lot of fishing to be had out here. This is pretty shallow, but if you go up towards Gaston, that's right where it's the base of the dam, and some of the best trout fishing in America is out there. So there's a lot of people who are catching some big trout, a lot of bass to catch out here as well.
Yeah, I want to try that in the summer. If we had a problem, we could land right there.
Oh, yeah.
This airplane will land pretty short.
Pretty.
Now this is the backcountry flying here.
For sure.
500.
See this thing?
I love how you look straight ahead to the left. There's just not a sign of humanity that can be seen.
Yeah.
Protected forest. All the homes are old homesteads, so it's passed down from generation to generation. And that's why they were able to keep the land. Makes for some great outdoor places to go explore too, though. All right, we're about 5 miles away. Let's go and push 122.90.
Number 2.
What's up? Tell you what, why don't we do a quick little tour of the facility so you can get your bearings on it, and then we'll look to do it. We'll come back around for a low approach to this runway.
This is nothing like anything I've ever seen before, and beyond being awesome hosts, the Fly Oz community is not sponsoring this. I just am really happy to share it, and if you get a chance to fly out here, it's amazing. So this is Bird's Adventure Center. We're calling it the STOL Gym when we get here because we can literally bounce around and fly all these different strips and really work on some solid backcountry training.
Pull up.
Yeah, so I see what you mean. It's a chop and drop, and I want to make sure that I'm down at speed by the trees.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're flying over the main strip right now.
Yeah, so that main strip looks like a easy peasy, and the other one's just a bit of a terrain hug to do that approach.
Exactly. So I'm going to come left here, and then I'm going to do a right 180, and then line myself up for a right downwind to that restaurant strip.
Okay, you landing, or are you going low and over?
I'm going to do a low approach on it.
So why don't I just follow you close and continue if I want to continue, and then I'm matching your profile.
Sounds good. Turn right.
Terrain. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
I'm going to do a bit of a turn here, okay?
Okay.
Terrain. Terrain. Pull up. Pull up. Terrain ahead. Pull up.
So it's a bit of a mind, to mess with your mind that you're going to have to be pretty tight to that terrain when you're on base to final here, eh?
Yeah, you definitely want to be pretty comfortable with backcountry flying and flying close to the trees in order to be comfortable to come out and do this.
All right, I'm following you.
All right, for this dog leg here, what we're going to do is we're going to get down. I'm going to slow down. There are some trees we're going to pass over, and then there are some telephone poles that aren't marked super well. You can see the poles pretty well. Just don't get too low before you come in, and then it's like a 45-degree right-hand turn for the runway.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Pull up.
All right, so I'm 70 currently.
I'm doing 60.
Pull up.
There's a couple of red balls that are on the high wire there.
Traffic.
Like I said, as long as you're down and on speed before the trees here, then we're pretty good. So we'll hit the runway here. We'll make this right-hand turn. Winds are looking very calm right now. Yeah, this looks like the right way to land, so whenever you're comfortable.
Two's down and safe.
Copy. All right, sounds good. I'll spin back around. I'll land. If you just want to park next to those cabins, that'll be a good spot.
Yeah, so I'll drive through the ditch here, like you said, stick back.
Hey, firm.
That wasn't bad at all.
Well, I wanted to give you the warning.
Thank you.
And then up that hill a little bit, just to the right of that tree to your left. Right in front of the cabin is a good spot.
Cute.
So that was awesome. The briefing was great because like I knew what to expect. Yeah. I did get my bearings on that first pass, but it was good to do the second pass. And then watching you fly that close to the trees, I was like, mentally I knew that's what we had to do. Mm-hmm. But watching you do it, I was like, okay, cool. I don't know if without having seen it done, if I would have been confident to go that close, you know what I mean? Even though in your brain, you know you need to. Cool. I was a little faster than I wanted to be, but it worked out. Yeah. What we talked about was be down on speed by the trees. I think I was just there. Like I was like, I almost thought about punching it and going around, but I had it down. I think the last number I saw was 50. I was like, I'm a little fast, but I had her down and I was on the brakes pretty good, but the tail didn't come up. Yeah. I got to stop before the ditch easily.
Getting close to flying to next to trees is definitely a backcountry requirement. Yeah. Particularly for this type of flying. I mean, you just have to. If you come in too high too fast, you just can't. You have too much energy. You won't make it. Yeah. And so you have to be able to kind of be comfortable, kind of skimming the treetops.
It was a kind of smooth landing because I was like,
even a hard landing, this airplane's not that hard.
But you want it to be for this, right? You want to come in with nothing left. That's what I wanted to do.
This is a little bit longer of a runway, but you can see there's a lot of other different runways, 200-foot runways, 300-foot runways, that if you aren't on speed, you're just not doing it. And some of these don't have go-arounds. So this one right here behind you has about 200 feet, and it's pretty steep terrain on the back end. So you need to make that call to go around early if you're not on speed.
It was really fun to watch Jill's reaction to flying with Trevor here. She's told me multiple times that this type of flying is definitely her favorite. She loves feeling like a bird, being low and close to the trees. So she's having a lot of fun there. I kind of wish I had the intercom on this. Anyway, it was fun to watch. And again, it was cool to see how well Trevor did this. That was awesome. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Look at him go. You see him? He's landing way sooner than I did. Oh yeah. Yeah, I was touching down at the trees. Yeah, both. Yeah. He landed probably 200-300 feet sooner than I did.
It wasn't bad though.
I know, I just wanted to warn you that it wasn't going to be super smooth. We didn't waste much time getting unloaded after arrival. The girls were excited to check out the cabin, and I wanted to go have a workout at the STOL Gym with Trevor. No doubt a factor as to why I was hesitant to get super slow on that initial landing with Evelyn was because I had a fully loaded aircraft, and having my daughter on board, I didn't want to get anywhere close to the ragged edge in terms of airspeed. Yeah, so that would be my only briefing point for this one, was despite trying to get my head around being on speed, I was still fast, you know.
It's just a very slow airplane, and the airplane carries a lot more energy than other aircraft compared to the RV that you fly, for example. Yeah. It's a lot more. It floats a lot more, and so if you come in just a little bit fast, it takes a lot of runway. So it's harder to get your spot landing just right. But that's where the practice comes in. That's what this was. And that's one of the reasons why, for somebody like you with experience, I like to go as a two-ship, because I can go in and I can show you this is what the line looks like, because it's very different in the back seat. My visibility in the front seat of the other airplane is so much better, and so if you have experience, then I'd much rather teach you and show you.
Now that I was solo with the airplane unloaded, I was excited to push the Super Patriot Mark II a little further.
I actually have better visibility chasing you, and more situational awareness of where you're at relative to everything else I do in the back, where my visibility is not necessarily as good.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the military way, right? That is neat to be instructed from a different airplane.
All right, my temps are good. Are you ready to go?
Ready to go.
This was without a doubt one of the coolest flying experiences I've ever had. I'm stoked to share this training in an upcoming episode, so stay tuned for that and keep your flight shop sharp.
All right, well, what would you like to practice?
I'm just having fun just going to the gym here, so I'm kind of speechless, to be honest. This is awesome.
This is kind of a good example of the playground that's here. You can kind of run around and just try the different strips, really get a ton of experience in very, very, very short order.
Yeah, no kidding. That's amazing. That's like going to the gym.
Yeah.